Good morning, Portugal. Carl Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show from expatsportugal.com. How are you this morning? It's a great pleasure to be back again with Frank Devane, the wonderful man who we had a Monday mouthful last week, the inaugural show of Frank's virtual food tour of Portugal, which will, of course, in time become an actual tour. I expect you to see him on your screens. Talking of which, I'm going to do that for you now. This is the shape of things to come, I think, possibly on Portuguese or global TV. So let's give this a go now by way of a little bit of a taster, literally. I'm choosing my words carefully there. Oh, actually, before we do that, let's say hello to Paul. A few people are saying hi. What sort of weekend have you had, folks? What sort of weekend would you like to have? We will look at the weather to see how that supports you in your endeavours this week in Portugal. But yeah, tell us what you've been up to this weekend. Tell us what you'd like to do this coming week, restrictions willing. So greetings from Harrogate from Paul. It's a bit stew and dumplings. That's a nice turn of phrase. And the odd Yorkshire pudding weather. Thick fog and 0 degrees there in Harrogate. We seem to be going backwards with the weather. Did somebody say it was March? Yeah. You not got any little, what are they called, snowdrops or anything showing at the moment, Paul, up there in beautiful Yorkshire? Hola, bon dia from the People's Republic of California, listening with you from a secret, undisclosed, secure location. Naturally, Hank, your secret is safe with us. Mark Rigby, bon dia from an overcast Povo de Varzim. We're heading that way, I believe, food-wise this morning. And please, Carl, no more hairy belly buttons. There's only so much a man can take. We'll maybe explain that a bit later on. Can only stay for a bit because I have my first online Portuguese lesson this morning. That's a really good reason not to be here. We can allow that. Didi, Deborah there, Deborah Davies. Filomena Pascal, bon dia alegria. Good morning to you, Filomena, joining us soon again. We're working on that. Our respective teams, all our Frank and Carl. Bon dia alegria. It's been an amazing weekend. Wall-to-wall sunshine over there in the UK. More sun this afternoon in Devon. How fantastic. And here she is. She can hold her head up high. The Algarve lost to Central Portugal last Thursday night, but only just, it has to be said. I mean, pretty much. A lot of people were saying it was a draw. Bon dia, Carl. Another beautiful day in the Algarve. Worked in the garden all weekend. And you were amazing last Thursday evening. Prosecco Peggy. Chris Wilson, morning, Carl and all. Regular podcast listener, but live this morning from a foggy Hereford, UK. Wow. A rare bird spotted among us. A podcast listener. You're most welcome, Chris Wilson. And Hank Stelica saying, oh, yay, DD. Yes, learning the Portuguese. Are getting support from Hank. And bon dia, peeps, from our mate Gary Austin in Alviagra this morning. Right, so check this out, everybody. This is amazing that's come in this morning. Hot from the desk of the Devane Production Studios.
Guys, this is Frank, your co-host with the most, with Mr. Carl Munson on Mondays. Last week we did the area of Coimbra. This week we are doing Trás-os-Montes. This area is very special to me because of one sausage. Stop laughing, Carl Munson. This is a very, very precious sausage. It's called alheira. I will tell you all about it during the show. However, I want to be able to welcome you to my kitchen as I cook some dishes from the area. The dishes represent the ingredients. They do not represent authentic recipes. Because I've just arrived over here, I'm finding this as we go, and I'm loving a lot of these ingredients. I've put my spin onto it. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I hope you guys enjoy my kitchen, because there will be a lot of good cooking happening over here. And once again, as you do on Mondays, cheers. What we've got over here is potatoes that I cooked yesterday. I roasted them yesterday. I will be taking these potatoes and re-loving them. That means they will be sauteed, they'll be slightly crispy. I'm going to be using some rosemary in there, some smashed garlic, some olive oil, and the loyal, beautiful chorizo. Now I will take the sauce. Drizzle it right on top. Trust me, these potatoes will be amazing, unbelievable. I've still got sumac to put on top. Sumac. You'll find sumac in many Middle Eastern stores. It's a berry. They crush this berry. It is lemony. It is delectable. It's beautiful. It works very well with Middle Eastern dishes. I've got bacalhau. This is going to be bacalhau Trás-os-Montes. What it makes it Trás-os-Montes is the bacalhau is wrapped with presunto that is from the region, is from Portuguese. So I've wrapped it around there. I'm going to make a sauce, and then what I'll do is I'll make the sauce over here, finish it off in the oven. The bacalhau is going to cook. The sauce also has white wine and some port wine. So now I'm putting the final bit of sauce. Put some olives in there, put some padron pepper in there. Our friend the Oliera has spoken. This, my friends, is what it's all about. Bacalhau Trás-os-Montes. Not exactly Trás-os-Montes, but you know what I mean. Next week, something different with some more bacalhau, but with a different twist. See you guys.
Amazing. How amazing. He's going to be with us in just a moment. We've got to look at the weather first, but I'm not sure the streaming did him justice there. But what a fantastic video. The tech may have stuttered a little bit delivering that, but you got the gist of that. I had no idea that's what he was up to. He was only meant to come on and have a chat on a Monday morning, and there he is. He's produced a full-on cooking video, which we will put up on the website so that you can check that out. Absolutely wonderful. So very quick look at the weather before we bring Frank on to talk more about that. I'm so impressed and I'm so hungry. That's the worst of it. And I vowed last week to have something to eat before I came on, and my mouth started watering and my tummy started rumbling here on the show. So let's have a quick look at the weather and bring the man himself on in just a moment. I'm going to find for you, yes, expatsportugal.com weather. Here we go. Let's bring it onto the screen so you can see it as well. Is your stomach rumbling and is your mouth watering as well? Okay, let's have a look in the capital. At the moment, nothing at all, nothing, no weather streaming through at all. I've got some streaming problems this morning, clearly, haven't I? So what we'll do is we'll come back to the weather as well, because I think Frank is lurking in the green room, and we will have a chat with him now and commend him on his fabulous effort this morning. Frank, that was amazing, sir.
How are you doing, guys? Yes, thank you very much. Put some effort into it yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. You can see, you can hear you loud and clear, and so impressed with your video there. Superb. And so there's more of those to come, right?
There is more of that to come, quite a bit more. I want to get specific with some of these dishes. It's such a pure joy to do this stuff.
Oh, wow, it looked like it. It really looked like it. And yeah, lucky you being able to eat it straight afterwards as well. So you said Trás-os-Montes. You're taking us up to the north of Portugal this morning. You snuck in what you described as your precious little sausage there, I think. Tell us more.
Okay, this region, it's a mountainous, very rough region, Trás-os-Montes, Alto Douro. What I really love about this region is one thing that really got my attention was obviously the alheira. The first few times I did the alheira, they exploded in my oven, I will admit that. And then I came up with a few tricks, and now the alheira comes beautifully. What I love
Right.
about this region is the porco bisero that I mentioned, that I made the bacalhau. I wrapped the bacalhau around the presunto. This pork would give the porco alentejano or the porco preto a run for its money. It is beautiful. What it is fed on is chestnuts. So in that area, they grow a lot of chestnuts. They do a lot of almonds. And imagine if your animal or cattle is eating almonds or chestnuts. Imagine what the meat would be like.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
When I went to source the presunto, I couldn't find it in a lot of places. Finally, was able to get it at one of the charcuterias over here, and it's quite pricey. So just like porco preto, it's a premium product. It's beautiful to eat, and that's why I want everyone to try using this product. Just eating the presunto just like this with melon, it's unbelievable. The region, as we know, we've done this in the wine club. The region has wines. The region has so much history as far as food is concerned. It's got a border right with Spain. So a lot of the dishes represent the terrain and what they do in that area.
Yeah, and does it mean beyond or between the mountains, Trás-os-Montes? It's a lovely word, phrase, isn't it?
It's beyond beyond the mountains.
Isn't that beautiful?
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Philomena loves Trás-os-Montes and alheira too. There's an amazing story behind the chicken-based sausage, of course, isn't there? A few comments coming in. Praise to you, I think, Frank here. Bon dia a todos. I see Frank taking his co-host duties seriously with the production of your video there. I mean, that's the great thing, is that we can pop the videos up on the YouTube channel as well, and really cause a stir with those. Pardon the pun. Just going back briefly to the Algarve versus Central Portugal, was a great fight, but Peggy scored the knockout, says Hank. So there's still some controversy there, without a doubt, cause of the internet because of the internet uppercut. That's a fiber optic knockout. I see. It's because the fiber optic you've got down in the Algarve beat Central Portugal on that. Good morning, greetings from Perafita, Porto, from Peter Robinson. What have I been doing? Watching information about restoring ruins and living in Portugal with your good self. A bit of walking from the house to the coast and putting up curtain rails. Wow. Busy man, Peter. Thank you for that report. Very good. From Moscow, Carolyn, bon dia to you. Hank, we get... Oh, they're still going on about the Central Portugal versus the Algarve. And just to probably finish that, in all truth, the Algarve and Central Portugal are very different places with lots of pros and cons each way. Just depends what you want from life. Ever the man of reason, Gary Austin there. Look at this. You knew I would giggle. You told me to stop giggling when you mentioned the sausage this morning, the special sausage, I think you call it, and now Penny's at it as well. Where's your salami, Frank? Okay. Lovely scoff, Frankie, says Gary, looking at your video there. I know you don't like the term foodie, but how do we address the Lord of Food, which is your new title this morning? The Lord of Food sounds good. That's
thank you.
That's the name for the cookbook, I think. Jersey's here, Bon dia alegria, from a dark and rainy Long Island over in the States. Good morning to you, Jersey. Waiting for Portugal to ease restrictions to join you guys. Looking forward to that moment. So many of us are, of course. Bon dia alegria, Frank's little sausage first thing in the morning, question mark. Absolutely, you've come to the right place for that. Is there a vegan option, or can you not get the taste of soy milk and almonds out of them?
Good thing you asked that question. If I can cut it, I actually found feijoada transmontana, which there is a vegan option to it, and they use a vegan sausage in that one. That one also seems like a very special sausage.
I think he's winding us up a bit. However, I bought Mrs. M a vegan alheira in Lidl's, I think. And it's something I want to ask you about is whether you eat the skin of sausages that you buy in Portugal. Some people do, some people don't. And obviously with the vegan one, it was wrapped in plastic, so you don't. But you have to be careful. I mean, do you want to deal with that now, Frank? Do you always peel your sausage, so to speak?
Not necessarily. I eat it with the skin. The skin itself has quite a bit of taste. I have seen, while doing some research for this, I have seen a chef do something along the lines where he has peeled the skin off, he's taken the contents within, and he's made a patty of that and just done something very fancy schmancy. And you know, whenever somebody starts doing something as fancy schmancy, is that what I say? Is come on, man, let it be. Just it's simple, nice food. Just let it be. Don't put the big chefy shine on it. We don't. We can eat rustic food and love it.
Yes. Okay. So there you go. Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. And obviously, I think it's with the sausages that won't stay together without the skin that you obviously have to leave it on until, you know, the very last minute or whatever. And that's just the problem, of course, with the ones that are very processed, isn't it? And you know, the vegan and vegetarian options, you may have to leave the plastic skin on right until the last minute or find a way of dealing with that, which I'm sure Frank can do with his culinary skills. Getting in late again, Lee McGrady, probably out and about. Our professional gardener, our head gardener. Good morning, everyone. Does the region, going to Trás-os-Montes now, does the region have a local olive oil, Frank?
Yes, olive oil is very well known. That's one of the things based on the terrain. And this is the blessing, this is the beauty of Portugal. Whichever area, whatever produce you have olive oil, you've got wine, and everything. It's very inherent to the area. It's very specific to the area. You can taste the terrain, as if you may. It's beautiful. The olive oil over there has, based on what I have seen, has a slightly spicier taste.
Mm. Okay, and that'll be the. I mean, you could do an olive oil tour around the country, couldn't you? On olive oil alone, let alone anything else.
And it would be a joy to do that. Beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, because I think it's one of those things, isn't it? It can be taken for granted, especially when you come from a country like me that only had olive oil in the supermarket. It was in the chemist when I was a kid because it was something you put in your ears. And then olive oil only really began to be sold in supermarkets in the 1980s. So to discover then that, you know, actually, and I think we've had this conversation, the mainstream olive oil, you will have your mind blown if you really dig deep into proper olive oil and not the mass-produced stuff, right? It's an entirely...
In North America, there's been a huge scandal with the Italian olive oil because they were mixing it up with vegetable oil and selling to North Americans in grocery stores, buying a big bottle of olive oil for like $4 or $5, and people were wondering why it's so cheap. It's because it's not olive oil.
It's cut with stuff. Okay, the dishes look delicious, says Victoria in Atlanta, Georgia this morning. Just letting you know, we love you guys. Eat, Carl. You need the energy, says the grandmother of our community, Donna Jacqueline there. That's brilliant grandmotherly advice, isn't it? Eat, Carl. You need the energy. All right. Received there, Jacqueline. Thank you so much. I will. And I'm going to be so hungry by the end of this show. Obviously, my mouth is watering, Frank. Chestnut fed. Amazing. Yeah, that was a well worth a mention there, Frank. Beverly, bon dia, Carl and Frank. Looking forward to hearing about new dishes and tastes we can try to reproduce when we get to Portugal full-time next year. Thanks, Beverly. Bon dia, alegria. Lovely spuds, Frank. So your spuds as well as your sausage being admired this morning. Great day here so far in Cabanas de Tavira. He's disappeared for a moment. Is the area Frank talking about near Serra da Estrela, the ski area of Portugal? No, it's much further north, Paul, than that. I would say Serra da Estrela belongs to the central Portugal. And Trás-os-Montes is way up there in the northeast, bordering Spain, as I think he might have mentioned. I find it to be a bit of a wet sausage, says Gary. Each to his own. Bon dia from Santa Fe, New Mexico, Enchanted Wellspring Channel. Lovely to see you here. How lovely. Jersey, I was going to say Jersey there. Jersey has its own feijoada called a bean crock, very similar. But without the chorizo, and never peel a chorizo. If it gets moldy, give it a wipe with vinegar. It's a safe mold. That's a really interesting comment there. Look at this, just in, Frank. We found out from Pete from Castanera de Pera, the man who makes our wonderful intro and outro videos, and our mid video, actually, if we need it. Jersey has its own feijoada, the bean crock, but without chorizo. And on the matter of peeling or not peeling chorizo, if it gets moldy, he says, give it a wipe with vinegar. Like many things in life, it's a safe sort of mold. And we shouldn't be squeamish, should we? Because, you know, with cheese, we're eating mold, aren't we, effectively? And that's really
It's
good
good for
advice.
you. Once it gets in there, it takes care of everything that's inside.
I mean, you know, my temptation would be to take the skin off because that's what's been hanging up in some, you know, in the most rustic way. That might have been hanging up in the larder all the time. And you know, the skin is its protection, its wrapper, if you like. But you guys are just happy to eat that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
it's 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 unbelievable. If you look at Aliera itself, the reason and the history behind it is because during the Inquisition time, it was called the Jewish sausage because they
Yeah.
were forcing the new Catholic regime was forcing the Jews to become Catholic. So for them to show that they are participating in the religion and they are new novos Catholics, they were hanging these sausages, and I think it was a sheep stomach or something that these things were encased in,
Yeah.
and they were very reliable. They would just bring them down, wash them up, and use them.
Yeah, and it is the kosher sausage of Portugal, of course, isn't it? And when you,
It
I mean,
is.
it's an amazing sort of evocative moment of the Inquisition in Portugal, and just, you know, the soldiers or the inquisitors coming through the, you know, the towns and villages, looking through the window. It's like, okay, no, there are sausages hanging up in there. Move on. I mean, it's just incredible sort of filmic vibe to that. I raised my kids on my own twist on a feijoada recipe, family favorite, says Victoria. It's lovely to hear people's family food stories, isn't it?
Mhm.
Hesh from a snowy Sweden. How lovely from Tricia. We talk all
Hello,
languages here.
Sweden.
One of the best Portuguese writers, poets, was born in Trás-os-Montes, Miguel Torga. Again, this is the information we wouldn't find out if not for you doing this, Frank. So I thank you so much. In the small village of San Martinho d'Anta, near Villarreal, he was a doctor in Coimbra. Cole. Great to know, and must look that up. Heard a beautiful poem yesterday and thought to myself, yes, Portuguese poetry. We should do some recitals of Portuguese poetry. Great way to learn the language. I was watching a beautiful little documentary about central Portugal, and an old fella from a village spoke this poem that it sounded like he learned at school as a little kid. It was so beautiful. Gary Austin, olive oil, food, fuel, and medicine. Absolutely, Gary. Bon dia, gente from UB as well over there in the States. I think UB, good morning to you. We did an olive oil tasting at Thanksgiving from olive oils around the world. So much diversity. Yes, another thing to put on our list here, right, Frank? Found an incredible olive oil that comes from the north, provided by friend Manel, says Jacqueline there. Just scratching the surface on the love of olive oil. Bon dia alegria. De Fanadia from Brazil. That's got a lovely ring to it. Sheep's intestines, says Jacqueline there. I think that's in terms of what sausages are wrapped in that you're referring to there, Frank. As for olive oil, we have one of the best in the country, 5 minutes from us at Lagardo Z do Bolo, cold press with stones and monovarietal, amazing stuff, and where we take our harvest for pressing.
Isn't this amazing? Isn't that every area has their own way of producing olive oil? It's got a slightly different taste because of the terrain, and it all is amazing. Everything adds something different to a dish.
Yep. Obviously, no mention of the Spanish Inquisition is complete without mention of Monty Python there as well. Thank you, Gary. Lightening the mood there. You wanted me to share something, Frank.
Yes.
Is this a sort of introduction to part of what you're talking about? For some reason, you sent me a picture of a bag. Is this the right time to show that?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay. Well, that would be the bag. You have to let me know if it's coming.
Yes, that is the bag. That is the
there?
bag.
So
This
what's that
just so
about?
you know, just so you know, this is a weirdo Frank taking a picture in a local bus last week with our beautiful neighbor. We went to this little feria where all the farmers come in and they sell their local goods. But as we were so we had all these beautiful senior citizens in the bus going with us to the feria, and I'd seen these ladies with these bags, and these bags on both sides they had these holes, right? So as you would go, I was asking Donna Estrella, what is she going to do with this? I watched this old lady buy some. So she goes, she's going to buy live chicken. and she's going to take it home. And then I was just like, so what's going to happen with the chicken? And then Donna Estrella kind of pointed towards the neck as if, off with the neck. So yeah. So when we got back on the bus again, this is the picture we took at that point. Is she had two chickens coming out of both sides, and I was telling Rachel, I go, these chickens don't even know what's going to happen to them once they get home. Like, they are looking out windows of hope. And they're thinking that they're going to be amazing pets, but as soon as they get home, this is not going to turn out very well for these chickens. That's why I wanted to share it. It's a very cute bag, but what's going to happen to these chickens is not going to be very cute. These are like it gives you kind of snippet of Portuguese life. Is that old lady probably bought this? She's going to take the skin off. Donna Estrella was saying that she kills chicken like right in the house. She buys live chicken, kills it, takes the feathers off and whatever. This is how people have lived over here through the years, and this is how they enjoy food.
There is an integrity to that for sure. I didn't realize there were chickens looking out of this bag when you sent it to me. When I was looking at it, I was thinking, that's sweet. Is Frank going to get himself a shopping bag like this? But no, I zooming in now, I see on the detail that there is indeed a chicken looking out of each end of this bag. There's one.
They're looking out the windows of hope. This is them hoping it's going to be a pet thing happening.
And we pay our respects to them, suspecting they're no longer with us. And I mean, I thought what you were going to say was, look at this bag. It's been in the family for generations, and you see, this is what Arvo goes to the market with. And I can see you carrying one of these, Frank, but I didn't see the chickens there. That's quite.
I would carry it with pride, with two chickens on both sides, bring it home and give it to Donna Estrella, and she'll teach me how to do the business.
I mean, that's quite incredible. And I was talking to Jacqueline, who's here this morning, recently about, we were talking about, we do a show together called Life, Death, and Everything in Between. And, we talk about God and love and peace and the great things of life in our view. And I was saying, there's nothing closer to the divine love on this planet than the love of a grandmother. But this is the dark side of Granny, isn't it? Carrying a couple of chickens home and then seeing to them when she gets back. And she's got more guts, I suspect, than most other people in the family being able to do this.
Oh, tough ladies. They're when it comes to stuff like that, it's cold. Like when I asked Donna Estrella, what is she going to do with it? She just did one of these. She goes, it's going to be game over for this chicken when you get home. And I was, Donna Estrella, you do that? And she goes, yeah, of course, Frank. I pluck the feathers. I take care of the chicken and whatever. And she goes, but Frank, você é cozinheiro. You cook. I go, Donna Estrella, I don't know. For some reason, I just cannot kill anything. And she's like, don't worry about it. Just bring it to my house. I'll take care of it.
That's incredible. That is incredible. And like I say, a bit, some integrity there, because, while a lot of people, are meat eaters, and proudly so, sometimes they can't do what Granny does there. And I think there's an integrity in being able to do your own butchering rather than leave it to somewhere and someone out of sight, because you can't bear that part of it. Wow, that's quite an incredible twist to the morning's proceedings. Graça is here, who is a vegan. Good morning, Benvendo, Marco. Marso, I'm not sure what that would mean this morning, but I'm sure she'll explain. Barbara's also here, saying hello from Poland. When I was a child, my nonna got her olive oil and saffron from our local chemist. All other Italian provisions meant a trip to Soho. Supermarkets not invented in the UK then, of course. Yeah, most Brits don't eat Italian food. We were considered a bit strange. And this is the truth. And that's not that long ago, is it, Penny? I love the train or bus market day, bags and boxes full of various ages of chicken, though was somewhat amazed to see someone with a plastic carrier bag of 4 live guinea pigs. Yikes. Are they working on a Peruvian dish there, I wonder? Or pets, hopefully pets in that case. Peter Bleach, one thing's for sure, that bag will be full of excitement. Practical question this morning to your experience. How detailed does your baggage list need to be for Portuguese customs? Why are you thinking of bringing some chickens in, Pete? My theory, Rachel says, in the household that Frank is speaking from, Mrs. Frank or Mr. Rachel, whichever way you look at it, as in You see what I did there? My theory, the reason why the Portuguese chicken tastes so good is because they go for a bus ride before the oven. Sorry for the non-vegetarian joke. Wow, the last free-range journey. Gary, I've adapted a point of view that if I eat meat, then I'll honour the animal's sacrifice by not wasting it, even if the bones go to the wildcats. I'm with you there, Gary.
Precisely. You have to honor the animal.
There is something, about this, isn't there, in how we've put all the butchering away out of sight, because we, understandably don't want to see that, can't bear it, and how there is an integrity when the nonnas are slaughtering and butchering their own chickens here, as they do in the flat next door to Frank and Rachel there, for example. And yes, and then honouring this sacrifice. Incredible stuff this morning that we're talking about. Joel, seen it plenty of times when I was a kid. But something, by the sound of that, Joel, that's less popular now. Tell us if that's true. The older ladies sit here together in front of their houses, plucking the dinners. Of course, the feathers go straight to the gardens. Nothing wasted again.
Nothing wasted.
I think Grassa referring to her vegan position there. Oh, I see. Of course, it's March. Marzo is March, Carl, and today is the 1st of March. Why didn't I mention that before? We are into the 1st of March. I think Paul made a reference to that. So that's what that means. Thank you, Grassa. Good morning. Benvindos a Marzo. So welcome to March. That mystery satisfied. Okay. For Christmas, I received a Livro de Pantagruel, or Pantagru, which is the Portuguese cooking Bible. We mentioned a similar book last week, Frank, but thicker. Now it's in its 79th edition and first published in 1945. An amazing resource for Portuguese cooking. We need to get one of those for Frank if he hasn't got one of those already as a gift. Can't get much fresher than that. Most of the most amazing ways I saw this done was in Cambodia by an old woman that stroked the chicken until it slept and gently slit its throat. It was a very tender chicken, Carl says. Wow. Yes. And welcome to March, says Grassa there. Good morning to you, Paul, by the way. I suspect there would be more vegetarians if we had to slaughter our own meat. Absolutely. That being said, pigs are delicious, says Hank. So in a way, they are guaranteed to never go extinct because they're so delicious, and chickens and cows. That's an interesting view on it. From Wales, did we? Sant 1st March, happy St. David's Day to any Welsh people listening in today, and apologies for what I just did to your language. And it was because my late grandfather had some chickens and rabbits at home, says Joel, and every month 1 or 2 went to the chopping block. Real life, you might say. So going back to our pictures here, Frank, do we move on here to show a little bit more of the sausage?
Absolutely. Actually, if you want to, you can move to the porco bistro. I had sent a link. Not sure if you have received.
Yes, I did. I'll share that instead on the screen there. Wow, if I can, just struggling with my tech a little bit this morning. But yes, I have got that bistro link. Let me find that for you now. Yeah. Well, what a fascinating conversation we're having this morning. One final click.
And isn't it amazing that every area has these kinds of flavors? They have this kind of vista, and they've got so many different varieties to offer that most of the time gets missed in just Portuguese people being very humble.
Yes. For sure. I'm quite shaken by the conversation we're having this morning, I have to say. And it, I'm slightly kind of squeamish and awkward about it. And not in, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing that we're having this conversation. And it reminds me of recently there's this moment in Jungle Book, and one of the new renderings of Jungle Book, where I think the panther is teaching Mowgli how to hunt or something. And he talks about how you I mean, I wept when I heard this twice. And you have the I can't remember which character it is, but they've got an antelope that they've killed, and I think the panther says, when it dies, look into its eyes so it knows it's not alone. And with the conversation we're having this morning, it tells you how far we've gone away from how reverent we might be. And in our culture, it's in a factory, isn't it? The factory farming, factory slaughtering, it's been moved away from us, and it's just
a disrespect of how If anyone has seen any production of poultry or any of the other animals, it's just the disrespect with which the animal is picked up and thrown around. I
Yeah.
find that to be extremely disrespectful. I
Yes.
find that when nonnas or grandmas are cooking and doing these kinds of things, or when locals are doing these kinds of things, they are not only being respectful, they're teaching you respect. They're teaching you how to honor this animal that has given its sacrifice, and how to, from tail to nose, use the entire animal. Don't make sure nothing gets wasted, because
Yeah.
you're eating this. It's for your nutrition.
Yeah, absolutely. And I dare say as well, it points towards our own strange view of our own mortality
Hmm.
as well at the moment. Because I was looking at the work of Stephen Jenkinson, another one of your fabulous fellow countrymen from Canada, who's written the most amazing books about how humans are death phobic, and how we treat our own mortality, and how it's part of our neurosis really at the moment, and how it's a big problem for us that we're really not doing very well with, and eldership and all sorts of things in that. But yeah, thank you for prompting that sort of discussion and sentiment and insight there, Frank. Back to the bizarre pig.
Sorry, it got dark. I don't, and I more importantly, I don't mean to offend our vegetarian or vegan friends. It's about, this is what the life is about over here, and we
Yeah.
have to be as honest in portraying the lifestyle that we see over here, and the
Yes.
lifestyle that we enjoy, that we came here for, right?
Yes, indeed. No, things should be talked about. Because something's awkward doesn't mean it shouldn't be talked about. I mean,
Hmm.
that's a big problem in itself, isn't it? Us not talking about things because we're awkward about them. Far better to bring it up and process it and work on it, and deepen our understanding. So no problem at all. So this fella here, why are we sharing this on the screen at the moment? Is this going back up to Trás-os-Montes now?
Yes, this is Trás-os-Montes. This fella is a beautiful fella. It's one of the biggest varieties of porks. It's a large animal, 1 meter in height, 1.8 meter from the nape to the tail root, and it's got some very distinguished marks on it that separates this animal from the other varietals in Portugal. And obviously, as I said, its diet, it's being raised on chestnuts. Very likely there are almond groves around, and it's eating almonds as well. And when you eat something like this, it is magical. Yesterday, the food that I made, just 5 or 6 thin rashers of the presunto. It was so beautiful. When you eat that, I can't say that I tasted the chestnuts, but you can kind of, if you think about it, if you use some of the olive oil, it will take you to that area. This is
Yeah.
how inspiration each region is, and specifically this region with its rich food history.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay. And so do I move on from here to the
Yes, yes, yes.
popular foods of that area up in? And like I said before, we do need to do this tour, don't we? Because it is little known. Obviously, going back to the discussion we're having about the Algarve and Central Portugal. The Algarve, very well known. Central Portugal being better known now. Going up to the north, we talked a little about Braga last week, but it remains, the Trás-os-Montes probably remains the most unknown, unexplored part of Portugal. Would I be right in saying that, do you think?
Yes, it's very easy. It's a low-hanging fruit to go and talk about francesinha or bitok or and all these kinds of things, because we see it going north to south in Portugal. We see it everywhere. But
Yeah.
these kinds of areas with the flavor and with the strong culture that they have, it does not get represented very often. I find this is very important for us as newbies, as new immigrants to this country. This is something we need to learn. This is something that will make us near and dear to the locals who live over here. Imagine if you went somewhere and you went and talked about salpicão, the local sausage from Trás-os-Montes. They would be not only impressed, they would know this person is taking interest
Yes.
in their local food, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely right. So what have we got here? We got the cheese of the north.
Oh, this cheese we have. I'm quite sure you've seen this
Oh, okay.
cheese.
Sorry, that's the headline pick. So we've got 10. Are we going to count through these 10?
Yes, let's go through it.
So there you go. Look, that's the area we're talking about. If you are able to zoom in onto your screen, top right-hand corner of Portugal, the northeast there. Number 10, Vinhais Salpicão, sausage
Salpicão.
de Vinhais. Tell us about this, Frank.
This it's basically pig farming is huge in this particular area, and it's local sausage. It's very simple, but salpicão is something. What I use is I don't know. In that cooking video, you will see I've got 3 different kinds of sausages that I purchased: chorizo, salpicão, and presunto. And what I do is I chop them up, I put it in the fridge, and freezer. And whenever I'm cooking any of the dishes, even if that day I'm thinking I'm just going to do some feijão, I'll get some chorizo out, some salpicão out, and salpicão has a bit of a different taste to the chorizo. The chorizo is about the paprika and the smokiness of it. Salpicão has a little bit of a different taste, very, very local to this area.
Yep, excellent. Okay, number 9. Look at that. That is
Look at this
sweet chorizo there. Or chorizo.
This is very, very local. If you look at the ingredients in this one, pig's blood, honey, walnuts, almonds, and olive oil. Mm-hmm. Along with chopped meat. Imagine this one sizzling and us sitting around with glasses of wine and eating something like this. It's a very precious experience.
Absolutely, that's great. Number 8, Vinhais sour sausage. Oh, actually, before we leave a blood in cookery, because that came up, didn't it, between last week and this week? Because the lamprey was mentioned last week, wasn't it? And there was a lamprey dish with blood, with the fish blood in it, and we were asking generally of whether people have tried that. You presumably, I mean, do you like bloody food, as it were, or do you just steer clear a little bit of the greater excesses of that?
In a few years back, I remember many years ago, I went with my wife to this restaurant in Brazil, and I think the dish was called frango compado, and this dish is cooked old galinha, which is cooked in its own blood. Yes. I did not just the idea of it because. Just like you guys coming from Canada, looking at something like that, I was just like, oh my God, what is this? But now I've kind of gotten used to it. I can go with it, especially something like this with some spices. Really, this is something I could go for. Now, after a few years of understanding food a bit better, and we are evolving, all of us are evolving, this would be right up my alley now.
And it's about not wasting things, isn't it? Okay, so number 8, Vinhais, sour sausage, chorizo azeda de Vinhais here.
This one is you just boil it in salted water, and it's paprika, garlic, and olive oil. It's got its own taste as well. This one is made with another breed of the bícaro.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so continuing to scroll through number 7. Oh, the chestnuts.
The chestnuts.
Castanha, of course. Castanha da terra fria. That's a beautiful picture, isn't it? You cook these at home?
Yes, we've screwed them up a few times. However, the few times that they've come out nice, they've been very, very good. It depends. If you roast them in your oven, and you go and you're having a drink or you're watching football like some people do, and you go back to your oven, they'll get dry and they may even burn. Not that I've done that.
I did that the last time I tried it, and they were completely black. It was such a shame. Yeah. And of course, you've got to remember to skewer them, otherwise they explode as well, don't they? So actually quite a very something that needs your attention, really. And shout out to the street vendors who cook these so beautifully. There is a pork leg there, the whole ham there. This is something that you see in Portugal, of course, isn't it? In the supermarkets and shops, is that you buy this whole thing, and there you are, harvesting from it, as it were, for several months, presumably.
For the longest time, people who travel to Spain, they see a ham leg like this. When they go back to North America, they believe that Spain is the only country that represents this. This culture is all over Portugal, and especially these regions. This is exactly how it's cut, and they cut off like small pieces, like thin slices of this, and you're
Yeah.
sitting around and you eat this. Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 5, we're into 5 now. The Alheira de Vinhais. There we go. So the star of the show, really, the pale sausage that we've spoken about so much this morning. Did you want to add something more about that, or the ingredients, Frank? Because I know we've got another shot of this, haven't we, somewhere else?
We do. If you, when we go back, go all the way, Alheiras are come up twice. This is the Alheira that has more of garlic, paprika, and it's a smokehouse Alheira, if you may.
Right. Okay. Amazing. And that's not something to eat. These adverts that I get, honestly, it's not as bad as some I get. But Terincho cheese, queijo Terincho. What's going on here?
These are specific to the Terra Quente in the near Bragança. Bragança, Chaves, Viseu, Guarda, and Villarreal are some of the small towns in this area, and they produce some of the most amazing such stuff. Chaves, what they say, produces some of the best meat and cheese with its own specific signature flavor.
Yes, incredible. And you see a lot of sheep's cheese in these, don't you? Which, I mean, where
Yes.
I've just grown up thinking that it's mainly dairy, as in, like cow milk cheese.
Mm-hmm.
But you come to Portugal and you'll get sheep cheese, and you get a blend as well, won't you? Just
Yes.
cow, goat, and sheep as well.
They mix it with like vaca, cabra. They will mix it up, and some of the blends are beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. Trás-os-Montes olive oil. So that was mentioned before, and you were shouting out its praises. Did you want to add some more? Because look at that landscape as well, Frank.
Look at that landscape. Look at it's unbelievable, and they do a lot of the. There's a lot of the terraced landscape over here as well, because this area is also attached to Alto Douro, which is the upper Douro region. So they do their wine and they do their olive oil in this terraced area.
And there's special love for people, I think, isn't there, who farm difficult areas. It's all very well, isn't it? With modern industrial agriculture on large plains with loads of machinery in it, I mean, it's still a tough job. No getting away from that. But then you look at a landscape like this, or you look at the Douro, and you think, wow, these people are ingenious and incredible over generations to be
resilient.
Resilient. That's the way, isn't it? Yeah.
They do it. They do it with a smile. They create this agriculture is not done. This is not because of profit. This is not a corporation. These are farmers who are doing this because of heritage, because of their love for this food.
And they've bred sheep apparently where one side of the legs is longer than the other, so they can actually walk around the mountains more easily. It's quite incredible. Trás-Montano goat cheese, the picture that we first saw. Oh yes,
this is one of my favorites. This one. This is, you put a little bit of you know that jam you were once talking about or preserve with the Porto wine.
Yes.
This cheese, I have tried it with that Porto wine. It's unbelievable. The contrast of tastes with this cheese and that preserve is unbelievable. You've got to try it.
And that's a thing. That's a Portuguese thing as well, isn't it? Honey with the cheese and meat board, as well as jam with the cheese and meat board. Really nice combo. Okay, and the Mirandela. Okay, so what was that? Oh, it's a hearing aid. You see, this is why I despise Google so much, Frank. All the adverts I get now are like for hearing aids, incontinence, erectile dysfunction. I just wish they didn't know so much about me. Mirandela.
Is this why are they targeting you like this? I wonder. We need to talk to people. This is not on.
I know I can share with you, Frank. Okay,
stop doing this to my friend Carl.
Yes, that's right. What's she called? Alexa, stop sending me adverts like this. Mirandela sausage, Alheira de Mirandela. So this is the
this is the star.
This is the star of the show, is it tonight? This morning.
This is the star of the show. And what I learned from my neighbor, what she does is she just either toothpicks. She just basically pricks the sausage around Stop smiling, Carl Munson.
Yeah.
And when you put it in the oven, usually these can be deep fried as well, and then they put like this fried egg on top. But you can do it in the oven, and they come out beautiful. The shot of the mirandella that I cooked yesterday, they come out beautifully. 45 minutes, 180 degrees Celsius oven, brilliant.
And when I first had it, I was in Tamar actually, and I'd say, yeah, sort of a real cultural hodgepodge, central Portugal, but northern sausage. And I'd found out about the story behind Galera sausage. And I had it deep fried. And I'll be honest with you, I was a bit disappointed. I think this can be done better than deep fried. Would you agree?
Yes, for some reason the deep fried bit, it's the kick of the oil you get in right at first,
Yes.
and I think what they're trying to do is because the contents of the sausage are kind of like soft. They want to give a contrast of the skin being kind of crispy, and then you get into the contents, and it didn't work out for me. It works much better in the oven.
Yeah, I would say so, and I prefer that generally with sausages if you sort of kind of slow bake them. But I guess
Slow bake them. The other one, the pork ones, I usually like to grill them.
grill.
They usually work out well, but these ones go very well in the oven.
All right. So, star of the show there, you're saying that's the Mirandella sausage. Joel agrees. And interestingly, I think that's the vegetable that we identified on the show. Is that a turnip top? Is that the yellow, where it's slightly going
Those are the flowers. Yes, this
Yeah.
is the turnip top that is used everywhere over here.
Yes.
Cabbage overall, I thought cabbage in Brazil, cabbage is called repolho. So I was going on looking for cabbages and this turnip top, whatever. Over here, it's called couve, any kind of cabbage. So there's a little bit of a difference. But these are definitely they as you've seen, the turnip itself is sold either on its own or with these greens, and they're beautiful with the flowers.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And that's a nice touch because it looks good on the plate, doesn't it?
It does.
See and
Looks
eat
beautiful.
well. Okay, we're going back for more comments. Thank you, everybody, for being here this morning. Really enjoying this with you, Frank, talking about food. Do you know where we're going next week?
I'm thinking we're going to go south. I think we're going to make Prosecco Peggy very happy. I'm thinking we're going to go in the Algarve area. I think we've done a bit of the north, so now we're going to move towards the south and talk about some of the food over there, which is brilliant as well.
Fantastic. Bon dia from Cascais this morning from Ana Rita Vieira. I saw you enjoying yourself on Thursday night at the webinar there. Anna, thank you so much for your company there. Giving thanks to the animal is important to the Native American peoples. I think we need to, that's part of what's gone on with this conversation for me this morning is how unsacred and how irreverent our lifestyle is, modern life in its haste, with factory farming, with production methods, hiding death away. We've got a lot to learn, haven't we, from the past and what's still, available to us in Portugal. And aren't we lucky to still have a foot in that sense of history here?
I say the treasures are right next to us. If we were in our societies, if we were to just follow one principle, it's to respect and listen to our elders, our seniors. They've got so much experience and they've got so much to give as far as culture and history is concerned. They'll sit down, they'll tell you what works and what does not work. Instead of listening to corporations, listen to the elders.
Yes, great point, Frank. Bon dia a todos. If you eat chicken, then why not do it yourself, says Janny in Belgium. I did it several times and with my children, so they understood the process. I think that's good as well. My rooster had a broken leg. I had to choose for an injection or preparing it myself or going to buy one in the supermarket. Wow, Janny, I take my hat off to you there. And you're right, and this is what Frank was saying. I eat animals, but I couldn't kill them myself. There is a moral dilemma there. Can we ask Frank about his future with his cooking and where he sees himself in 5 years? It's like an interview question, isn't it? So CEO Gary asks, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Don't know. I really don't know. We're going to see how this works out. I'm really enjoying this. The idea about this is food is my passion. I love food. I love Portuguese regional food. I love European food. So I'll see where I can take this. It's about passion. I don't know. I can't answer that right now.
Yes, but if there are any TV producers watching, I have to be on the show with Frank in some capacity as we tour around eating Portuguese food and
Oh,
drinking.
you are tied to me. Don't try cutting yourself off right now, Carol Munson. You're tied to me, brother. We're doing this together. Wherever we go, I'll be like, first thing I'll be like is on the very first. This is the contract. The very what does it say? Carl Munson is coming along. If he's not, I'm sorry, not signing it.
Equalment. It works both ways, Frank, and we're going to make our mothers proud as well, aren't we? Because the mums are coming up, aren't they, as part of this Nonna tradition? Because I suspect both our mothers could slaughter chickens as well. What do you say?
Oh, slaughter chickens with a wink and bang, the neck is gone.
Yeah, if I had to kill my own animals to eat them, I couldn't do it. I love animals too much. It's a moral contradiction. Sure is, Hank, and worthy of exploration and thoughtfulness. I think the Jewish people cut the throat of the animal bleeding to death is painless, and they give great honor to the animal, says Jacqueline. I love the Native American Indian way of thinking about animals and food, says Gary. I agree with Frank. Honor and respect the animal. Yes, we must, and just life more generally. I just, the sense I get in the dominant culture we live in, we just don't do that. It's kind of slipping away, and it's down to us to seek the counsel of the elders and put this, put it back into our culture. We need to be rearing more of our own food to relearn respect and gratitude, says Fiona, who's absolutely right. I think not wasting food is done so wildly now. As is done so wildly now. Don't waste food. I mean all food. We need to stop throwing away anything edible. Yeah, it's a crime, isn't it? Those dumpsters outside supermarkets, that is awful. And especially it's not even given to people who are hungry. There's something
And
wrong.
if you're not getting upset looking at that, if you're walking by a supermarket, you're walking by a grocery store or a small restaurant, and you're seeing the piles of food that from far you can see some of it is usable, and there are people who are they don't have anything to eat. It's unbelievable how much food in first world countries we waste.
Criminal. Yes, mustn't waste any parts, says Penny. Bones always go straight to the pot for stock. Absolutely right. I've been using my slow cooker a lot recently, and when it's down to its last, when I've eaten the meat out and I've still got some gravy there, I just got a bag of. I had a bag of watercress on the turn, because it doesn't keep well, does it? And suddenly goes. I threw the whole thing in the meat stock, whizzed it up, and I had this hugely nutritious watercress soup with the meat stock. It can be done.
Beautiful.
Just knowing how to do it. Absolutely. Then after that, if not suitable for the pets, they go to the compost bin. I think we should sing the Circle of Life here. Here is a poem by Miguel Torga.
Let's go, Elton.
Written in Coimbra in 1949. Primero poema de primavera. The spring poem. Perfect. Who's going to do this? You or me, Frank?
Which one?
This poet. Can you see the poem on the screen? It might be really tiny. I'm going to give it a go, and I apologize in advance to all Portuguese people and the poet himself. Now, céu que tem a luz da primavera, que me embebeda. Será que e bebo por telepatia a alegria do vinho que há de vir, embriagado ando de certeza. A quer so dever outro so na natureza. I don't know what I said there, but I'm getting.
But you said something very beautiful, and this is very good. It's the first time I've heard you do the Portuguese bit. You're sounding good, man.
Thank you, and I'm hearing some spring in there for sure. Primavera is such a beautiful word, and it's on its own, isn't it? A bon dia from Oregon, from Pam E. Hi, Pam. How you doing? Got your second shot? Yeah, I'm good, Hank. Had my second shot 2 weeks ago. So there you go, everyone. Jani, we have nearly the same sausage in Belgium, the bloedwurst. We eat with apple compote. Yum. That's a nice word. Yum. Belgian for nom, isn't it? I suppose there. That's brilliant, Jenny. The best and traditional way to roast chestnuts is to light a pile of pine needles and then throw on the chestnuts. No need to even cut them. They do not explode for some reason. With the pine needles there, some proper country rural wisdom coming there from
Yes.
Pete. Love goat's cheese. You're making me hungry, says Pam, showing that goat's cheese. And that was the best Alero. There's the Mirandella. Even removing the skin, using the meat inside to fry it and use it like meatballs on spaghetti. That's a really good trick I saw. Someone squeezing out the meat from inside the tube of the sausage skin, rolling it into a little ball. You've got yourself a little meatball there, haven't you? And that's it. We could do a Portuguese twist on that. Are the one-sided short-legged sheep the same as you find it? They are. They are cousins, Paul. Yes, one set of legs is shorter than the other side, so they can just go around the mountain more easily. Some of the farmers are like that as well, apparently. Me, Mini, Douglas, Solomon are watching. Now they want sausage for dinner, but they're declining the cabbage. Hello, Daddy. Hello, Frank, from Mrs. M through there in the other room. So sausage for us tonight. Pammy, great news about the shots. I have a lovely kitchen that Frank can cook in, says Peggy. There you go.
Oh, thank you, Peggy. I'll be happy to come as soon as we come to the Algarve and everything opens up. Thank you for the invite. I'll pop in. I'll take the invite easily.
First invitation on the tour, and you saw the video skills there. Rachel and Frank have excelled themselves. So we expect a video from your kitchen as well, Peggy. Cabbage is called repollo in the Azores too. Thank you. Good morning to you, Donna. That's good to know. It's a relief. So they're still talking about their shots there. Those two. That's great. Lima, great. I lived off grid for some time in Scotland. I never had a problem with killing of game and homegrown meat. If done properly, it's clinical. The meat tastes better when it's done properly, says Lee. I dare say that's true. I have a bone, so I am a way to use it, says Eugene. Always good. That's from Eugene James Product Reviews. We know who you are. And I imagine his pairing is like, a nice blood sausage with poutine together there. I think.
I tell you, his poutine dishes. He could probably write an entire cookbook with poutine dishes, poutine marinated. Can he?
With a nice poutine foam.
Yes.
That sounds great.
The great Ferran Adria Eugene McCrossan combination.
It's the poutine foam that comes from his mouth late in the evening. That's perfect accompaniment. Hi, Louis, Minnie, Digby, and Solomon from Auntie Rachel there. That's lovely. Hold on, we're still having another conversation about shots and masks there. My dogs are fed raw, bones and all, except weight-bearing bones. Processed pet food is horrible stuff. There's a whole other conversation. I think you're absolutely right, Penny. Yes. No problem with dogs eating bones if they're not cooked, of course, as I understand it. Is dumpster diving for food illegal in Portugal? It's a movement in certain places in the US. Can't an agreement be reached with supermarkets to let food pantries retrieve what they throw out? I mean, what we're challenging is a political and economic model, aren't we, with that? You can't be giving food away because that goes against the very nature of one of the dearly held principles here. What do you say about that, Frank?
Well, North American societies are so litigious. If someone was to go McDonald's at the end of every evening shift, I guess a lot of their buns and a lot of their burgers get thrown away instead of going into someone's stomach. This is one of the reasons as well, is because if someone gets sick and they sue you, then you are in worse shape than before, especially if you're a small business. So that's why we instead of feeding someone, we just throw it away because we don't want anyone to come back and sue us.
And I've heard this. I'm really into food forests and permaculture, and the idea. I think I heard something about somebody asking a municipality, because it's the same mindset at work. And I don't blame. I understand what goes on this. It's not an attack on people. This is an attack on our systems and our stupidity. But it's like, okay, so why do we have all these trees in towns that are ornamental and don't have fruit on them? And the answer was, if we put fruit on them, people will eat it.
As you walk around Coimbra, there are like or many places in Portugal, there are like these oranges. And for the longest time, as Rachel and I would be walking, I was saying, I wonder if these oranges are worth eating. When we asked Donna Estrella, she said that no, they're extremely sour. Don't even try them. They look good on the tree. This is what we do over here. But isn't this amazing? Everything smells like oranges, but you can't have them. In North America, you can never do something like this.
Yeah. This is done, says Karen, in many places in the USA too. I knew of a lad who was in Lisbon. I met him. He was a startup CEO, owner of a company that was trying to stop food being wasted. He got fed up in the end. I think he's gone back to Sweden, but he was trying to broker deals between supermarkets and food charities. And he told me about how he knew of these trucks, that were loaded up full of tomatoes. and the farmer couldn't do the deal. It comes down to economics and capitalism.
There's no money in it. There's no money in it, Carl.
These were spoiled. These tomatoes, picked and loaded, grown all year, picked, loaded up. They couldn't do the deal. It all got wasted. And he was doing his nut about it. He was just like, well, we could make soup. We've got to do something with this, what becomes spoilage or whatever it's known as in the food trade. And this is the problem. The system we have goes against our instincts, really, doesn't it? And more so. So we definitely need to be doing something about it.
We always get in our own way. This is human history, back and forth.
Yes. And that's why, of course, when it stays on a smaller scale, as we're noticing possibly with Trás-os-Montes in central Portugal, I saw these lovely folks I was watching in this documentary last night. They've got their pig. They've got the family pig. Granny was really giving it some stick, moving it about literally. And they were growing it. Their garden looked beautiful. It wasn't rows and rows of traditional allotment growing. It looked like a forest garden. It was so beautiful. She knew where everything was, and they could look after themselves. And that level of scale seems very supportive to real life to me.
Self-sustaining, resilient folks, cooking their own food, doing their own meals, growing their own vegetables. This is what it needs to go back to.
Yeah, I agree. 1st of March or 1st of April. Mark possibly referring to the long-legged sheep there. Carolyn, the video out of Oregon of the picture guarding. Yes, I saw that. Guarding the dumpster of thrown out food was criminal. Yes, that is the only word for it, Hank. My nonna used to squeeze out sausage meat for one of our favorite family dishes, pasta dishes. I still do it. I thought it was just us. No, I saw someone doing it, and I do it to this day. Making the meatballs from the sausage is a great idea. I didn't see that. That's awful in Oregon there. Hey guys, don't forget the YouTube thumbs up if you wouldn't mind doing that. It really helps. Carol, it's a barbaric society, I think, talking about. I mean, it's not just America, is it? It's anywhere where this scale takes place, and the gap between the haves and the have-nots is so horribly exposed like that. Take some good, here we go, a Eugene James product review. Take some good quality organic food, a bottle of poutine, then throw away the food and drink, and then drink the poutine.
I told you, he's got all the answers. You look for answers anywhere, you go to Eugene McCross and he will give you a poutine answer.
Today's recipe there, folks. They are numbingly sour, Frank. I tried one once. Oops. Look at the tourist eating the oranges in Coimbra from a tree. Regarding food, there's an NGO called ReFood that distributes surplus food coming from restaurants. Great idea. And I think, Antonio, was that not Daniel who was trying to do that, who got fed up in the end? I heard yesterday the reason that so many orange groves here are left unharvested is that Portugal is banned from exporting them by the EU. Spain is the EU orange producer. Can anyone confirm this? We don't want to hear that there is an affirmative answer to that. That would be terrible, but it could be.
Oh, that's terrible. Let's not even get into that controversy. We've just started this.
Yes. There's a charity kitchen near me. They collect out-of-date food from local supermarkets. They give away food, and if it's turning, they cook it and give away the cooked food. Quite right too, Penny. Frank, in the last few minutes then, what else did you want to say about the beautiful Trás-os-Montes, apart from us booking some tickets and getting up there as soon as we possibly can?
Oh, there's so much to say and so much to do, and very little time. But this is just a snippet. And once again, to everyone who's a purist as far as the regions are concerned, the recipes are concerned, the food is concerned. As newbies over here, I'm quite sure it's the same with everyone who's arrived over here. We're trying the local ingredients and using whatever is available over here and celebrating them, very importantly. So please don't take it to heart that this was not my nonna's recipe. We will be going there as well. However, we will start with whatever spin we can put on this food.
And literally a pack shot there of the sausage that you used, yeah?
Yes.
That looks really great. And did you want to talk about the ingredients? Because you sent me this picture.
Which picture is that?
Oh, I've got. Sorry, I haven't added it to the screen. Have I? Yes, I have. Yeah, this is the ingredients from the aliera there.
Yes, the aliera. What makes it the Mirandela aliera is this product is so specific and such a signature product, and this is why I wanted to send the ingredients. It's the amount of porco bisero that you put in it that makes it aliera sausage or not. and it's just a combination that is very, very specific. So when you see it, this particular bag of Mirandella, or this packaging of Mirandella that I got, I realized later when I went and looked, even this is not very authentic, but this is processed from a grocery store. It's just to give an example. The stuff that the authentic stuff that you would get over there, I think it stipulates that you have to use at least 25 to 30% porco bisero for it to be Mirandella sausage.
Yes, yes, and even looking at this processed one, as you say, that the total meat content is over 80%, which is a good, which is a good sign, isn't it? And even some of the other things in there aren't too grisly, which is great. So thank you.
Yeah, you won't find your sofa in there. There's good stuff in there.
Your sofa. Yes, brilliant. Okay, the weather's not loading up for me. I think it's safe to say that it feels a lot more spring-like. Looking out your window over Coimbra, what's it looking like there, Frank?
It's looking nice. It's looking sunny, and it's looking beautiful as always over here. We're in Portugal, weather shedder. It's beautiful all the time.
That rainy, cold stuff that we had, that seems like a distant memory even now.
Oh, it's gone. If you think about it, out of 365 days, if you're getting 305 sunny days, you're in heaven. It's beautiful.
Yeah, well said, sir. Diane Schindler says he got fed up in the end. Fed up. That was the guy who's doing the food project. Very good, Diane. Didn't even know that was happening there. Did someone say EU bureaucracy? We got him started over in our Viagra. Penny, love the show, the Carl and Frank show. It's Frank with the food. Frank about food. I'm loving it, Frank. It's so good. Looking forward to going to the south next week. Today in Belgium, National Compliment Day, all about giving sincere attention and showing personal appreciation. Two things that are not for sale, but that precisely for that reason affects people most deeply. So Frank, you are awesome in the kitchen, and Carl, you are a great hostel. Oh,
thank you very much, Carl. You are an amazing host.
Thank you very much, Frank, for being so awesome in the kitchen and in the marketplace there. And Gianni, thank you for being so thoughtful and wonderful and being here as often as you are and bringing that to our attention. Absolutely wonderful. From Diricelia, a new fan, Camillo, un brazo para Frankie, suceso, for you there. Marvelous. Question, how many points did you score in your best? What is this? A last dig from America to Canada here about the hockey?
Oh, hockey! Let's just go and look at the trophy rooms again. I always tell people, let's go and look at trophy rooms and see how many trophies you've got over there. Hockey, come on, let's not talk. It's Canada. We're humble. We don't talk about hockey. We just win it.
Porto looks like typical British weather. We know what that means. Thank you, Joel. And Pammy from America saying, can't wait to get to Portugal and try out the foods. Wonderful. Yes, as we said, down south next week, next Monday. Tomorrow, I'm really not sure what. I think hopefully I've got a fabulous mural artist who's struggling at the moment. Can't do his work. His work is beautiful. Want to show you some of that tomorrow. Ask anything about Portugal on Wednesday. Miel Mucker, Michael Heron will be here from Avonlight, who's a great. I talked to him a year ago, just before the pandemic kicked in. It's laughable what we said then, and the world has changed so much. So looking forward to having him back. It's about how to start a business in Portugal. Always useful stuff. Diricelia, Camilo is giving us sort of applause there, and Hank saying, no, I've played hockey, so I was curious. Just want to know how many points Frank scored. Last word coming in from Frank there. Oh, no, it's not. Canada has the best hockey players in the world, so no dig intended. Shout out to the Canadian hockey players, and abraço direto do Brasil from Diricelia there. Thursday, we are having a webinar about insurance. We are creating a partnership, expatsportugal.com, creating a partnership with an insurance company to make it all a lot easier, and we'll be talking all about insurance on Thursday night. Our wine, of course, goes back to you, Frank. Do you want to say quickly about what you're doing with the wine and the wine club on Thursday?
Yes, we're doing, I think it's a combination, it's a blend of Alvarinho and another grape. It's going to be a Vinho Verde. It's, I think we've put this one up on the page already. It's beautiful. I have to say we've tried it already. It is wonderful, crisp Vinho Verde. You have to try it before you bring it out, right? That's the idea. Because if you tried it, if it was not good, why bring it up?
Exactly.
So, Alvarillo, and another grape I forget, but it's a beautiful blend.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you, everybody. Take care and bye for now.
Thank
See
you,
you
everyone.
later.